April is not just another month in the garden. It is the month that decides everything. Most gardeners spread planting casually, treating March through May as one long, forgiving window. But experienced growers know a truth that changes how you see the entire season. Every single week you lose in April costs you weeks of harvest later, not days. Weeks. An overflowing garden from June to October versus one that barely keeps up. It often comes down to decisions made in this one month. Just 2 weeks of correct timing in April can mean bushels of fresh vegetables, or it could mean an entire summer of disappointment. Timing is everything. Today we are going through 8 vegetables with strict April deadlines. We'll explain why timing matters, what happens if you miss it, and how to plant correctly now. Stay with us through all 8. The final one has the most rigid deadline you will ever grow. Missing it means waiting an entire year for your next chance. Don't miss out. Peas are running out of time right now, and most gardeners do not realize it until it is already too late. The problem with peas is biological and unavoidable. Every degree above 75 degrees Fahrenheit pushes pea plants closer to total shutdown. Once summer heat settles in, pea flowers drop before setting pods. The season ends abruptly with nothing to show for it. April is your final planting window in most growing zones, and that window is shrinking every single day. The good news is that peas ask very little of you in return for a generous harvest. Direct SOS seeds, 1 inch deep, as soon as your soil can be worked. They germinate reliably even in cool soil, which makes them one of the earliest crops you can start. Provide a trellis or support structure. Climbing varieties consistently outproduce bush types by a significant margin. Inoculate seeds with rhizobium bacteria before planting. This boosts nitrogen fixation and increases overall yields. Succession plant every 2 weeks, continuing until daytime temperatures are consistently hitting the mid-70s. Snow peas and snap peas can be eaten pod and all straight from the vine. They are one of the most satisfying crops to snack on while you work. Shelling peas require more effort, but the flavor of a freshly picked pea eaten raw in your garden is unmatched. Frozen peas from a grocery store bag will never come close to replicating this taste. Thomas Jefferson grew more than 30 varieties of peas at Monticello and considered them his favorite vegetable. If you have only ever tasted the peas that come out of a frozen bag, this summer will permanently change what you believe this vegetable can be. Spinach is the most nutritious leafy green you can grow, and it is also the one with the shortest planting window. Spinach bolts to seed faster than almost any other cool season crop when heat arrives. Once bolting begins, the leaves turn bitter, the plant sends up a flower stalk, and the harvest is finished. There is no reversing it and no slowing it down once temperatures climb. April is your absolute final window for spring spinach in most growing zones. Every week you delay makes the harvest shorter and less reliable. Direct sow in the coolest and shadiest spot available in your garden. Afternoon shade extends your harvest window by days or even weeks by keeping the soil temperature lower for longer. Make succession plantings every single week and keep making them until the temperatures make further planting pointless. Harvest outer leaves continuously to extend production, or cut entire plants when they reach a usable size. Smooth leaf varieties work best for fresh eating straight from the garden. Savoy types with their deeply crinkled leaves hold more soil grit and require thorough washing before eating, though many gardeners find the texture worth the extra effort. Baby spinach harvested young is noticeably more tender than fully mature leaves and works beautifully in salads. The nutrition packed into each leaf of homegrown spinach exceeds nearly every other vegetable you could choose to grow, which makes the urgency of this planting window completely worth acting on immediately. Onions are one of the most overlooked April priorities, sitting quietly in garden center bins. That is a costly mistake made by growers who do not yet understand how onion biology works. Onions are long-season crops that require 90 to 120 days from planting to harvest. That math alone tells you why April planting is not optional. But beyond the calendar, onions are triggered by day length rather than temperature. Northern gardeners must plant long-day varieties and southern gardeners must plant short-day varieties. Planting the wrong type for your latitude produces small, underdeveloped bulbs or sometimes no bulbs at all. Push sets 1 to 2 inches deep with the pointed end facing up and space them 4 inches apart. Keep them consistently watered during the bulb sizing phase when they are putting on the most growth. Stop watering entirely when the tops fall over naturally, which signals that the plant is finished growing and beginning to cure. Lift the bulbs and allow them to cure properly in a warm, dry location with good airflow before moving them to long-term storage. Properly cured onions store for months in a cool, dry place, giving you homegrown flavor well into winter. April planting is the only way to make that happen this year. Tomatoes are the most popular vegetable in the American garden, and April timing is what separates those who harvest abundantly from those who wait and finally pull green tomatoes off dying vines before the first frost. Transplants must go into the ground after frost danger has passed, but the clock on the other end is also running. Every week you delay in April pushes your first ripe tomato further into late August or even September. Wait until nighttime temperatures stay consistently above 50 degrees Fahrenheit before you transplant. When you do plant, bury the stem deeper than it sat in its pot. Tomato stems grow roots along every buried portion of the stem, creating a stronger and more drought-resistant root system. Install cages or stakes at planting time rather than waiting until the plant is established, because driving stakes later damages roots that are already spreading. Determinate varieties produce one large, concentrated harvest and then stop, which works well for canning and preserving. Indeterminate varieties keep producing continuously from first harvest until frost kills them, which suits gardeners who want a steady supply. Mulch heavily after the soil is warm to retain moisture, regulate soil temperature, and suppress weeds, for anyone who wants genuinely red and ripe tomatoes in July rather than September. April transplanting is the decision that makes it real. Peppers demand more patience than almost any other vegetable in the garden, but that patience is rewarded with one of the most productive plants you can grow through summer and fall. The challenge is that peppers hate cold soil with a stubbornness that will punish impatient gardeners. Transplant them too early into cold ground and they simply stop growing. They sit without visibly dying, but they make no progress and the season ticks away around them. Wait until nighttime temperatures stay consistently above 55 degrees and soil temperature reaches at least 65 degrees. In zones 6 through 8, late April typically provides these conditions. Sweet bell peppers take longer to reach maturity than hot varieties and require a longer season to produce well. Jalapenos and cayenne varieties produce faster and more prolifically, making them excellent choices for gardeners in zones with shorter summers. Full sun is absolutely non-negotiable for pepper production. Without it, plants grow, but fruiting is thin and disappointing. The same April sun that is warming your tomato bed will work equally well for your pepper transplants placed nearby. For anyone who wants fresh peppers from August through the first frost of autumn, late April transplanting hits the precise window. Potatoes carry the most rigid planting deadline of every vegetable on this list, and missing it means waiting an entire year before you get another chance. There is no workaround, no substitute timing, and no way to compensate for planting too late. Potatoes must go into cool soil 2 to 4 weeks before your last frost date. And in most growing zones, that window falls squarely in April. The reason is biological. Potatoes need cool soil to establish tubers before summer heat arrives. Hot soil produces poor tuber development and dramatically reduced yields. Seed potatoes planted in May produce far less than those planted in April, and some years they fail to produce meaningful hearts at all. Cut seed potatoes into chunks, making sure each piece has at least 2 eyes. Allow the cut surfaces to dry for a full day before planting to reduce rot. Plant 4 inches deep with eyes facing up and space pieces 12 inches apart. As plants grow, hill soil up around the stems repeatedly to increase tuber production and prevent the green discoloration that makes potatoes inedible. New potatoes harvested young and small are a genuine delicacy that no grocery store sells. Storage potatoes harvested after the vines die back naturally will keep for months in cool, dark conditions, giving you homegrown flavor through winter. April planting is not a preference, it is a deadline. Carrots are a vegetable that most people believe they do not like, and almost every one of those people has never eaten a carrot pulled from their own soil and eaten within minutes of harvest. The woodsy bland orange sticks sold in grocery store bags are nothing close to what a homegrown carrot tastes like, and April planting is what makes that experience possible. Carrot seeds take 14 to 21 days to germinate, which is among the longest of any common vegetable. That slow start means that April sowing produces a summer harvest at peak sweetness. Wait until May and you push harvest into fall when quality begins to decline and summer heat has already damaged root development. Direct sow in loose, stone-free soil that allows roots to grow straight and deep without obstruction. Heavy clay soil produces forked, twisted, and stunted roots that are frustrating to harvest and difficult to use. Keep the seedbed consistently moist throughout that long germination period because carrot seeds dry out faster than almost any other crop, and will fail to sprout if the surface dries. Once seedlings emerge, thin aggressively to 2 inches apart. Crowded carrots produce small, unusable roots that are not worth the garden space. Mulch to keep soil cool as temperatures rise through summer. The sweetness waiting at the end of that process is genuinely worth every step. 8 vegetables, 8 deadlines, and 1 month to act on all of them. The gardeners who harvest continuously from June through October are not doing anything dramatically different from those who struggle. They are simply doing the right things in the right weeks. Peas and spinach need to go in immediately before heat shuts that window permanently. Onions need their long season started now. Tomatoes and peppers are waiting for stable nighttime temperatures that April is finally beginning to provide. Carrots need that head start to deliver sweetness in summer. And potatoes have a deadline with no flexibility and no second chances this year. You have everything you need right now. One productive weekend in April plants all of these, and sets up months of harvest that will still be feeding you when the leaves change color in October. Start with potatoes and onions first because they have the longest seasons and the most critical timing requirements. Add tomatoes and peppers as soon as your nights stay warm. Get peas and spinach in the ground before this week is over. By the time May arrives, your garden will be full of established plants already growing toward harvest, while other gardeners are still making lists. April is the month that matters most in the entire gardening year. Act on it now.